Let's rock and roll. Welcome to another episode of The Women Your Mother Warned You About, brought to you by Sales Gravy. This is Gina Tremarco, Master Sales Trainer and Coach. And
this is Susanna Gray-Jones, recruitment strategist and owner of Chime Search.
Ching, chime. I feel like I need like a chime. I do have like a chime thing somewhere. I'm going to find it and I'm going to hit it every time you say
next episode, please. Next episode.
But on this episode, the airing of this episode is Thanksgiving Day in America. And I know maybe you're not celebrating it, Susanna, but we will be. And that's when we left the motherland and came over here on the Mayflower and eat turkey because of it.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what? You just reminded me exactly what it is. So it's basically FQ UK. We've left. But do you know what? I've happened a lot. I've got family in Canada and I've got a lot of Canadian friends. Like my closest friends are Canadian, and I've been to a Thanksgiving party, and I think it's just the most amazing thing. Like you go around the room, everyone says what they're thankful for, and what a positive idea. It's one of the things that I love about your people is that you do have a way of just cheering on positive things in a very happy way. So yeah, it's a great American tradition.
It is, it's a great holiday tradition. I know Canada has their version of Thanksgiving or Canada Day or something. It's not. It doesn't fall on the same day. I think theirs is in October.
A bit earlier. Yeah, it's a bit earlier.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it is a great day for getting family together. You'll see a lot of people in America do practice like if you see on social media, there's some people that do like a whole month of gratitude on Facebook, and they'll post like, today I'm grateful for. That kind of gets to be a bit much, but we should we should practice gratitude every day. And I thought it would be cool to do an episode today just for people who are eating their turkey, or for some of us Italians. Growing up Italian, turkey was a thing, but so was lasagna. So we we ate a little bit differently than the rest of the Americans, but I think, any American just kind of creates their own Thanksgiving.
So you had lasagna?
Yes. Growing up as a kid, I remember there being lasagna and turkey and ham. Everybody does it a little bit differently.
Oh.
I think David is going to smoke, because I bought him a smoker last year. I think he's going to smoke a turkey, even though he's working all day. We'll have turkey later in the day when he gets off of work. And I don't know what I'm going to do during the day. I'm going to try to, find someone to adopt me for the day.
And be thankful with you. I think I've got a story on this because I grew up, my parents are quite Christian. And my dad used to always come into our bedroom just before we went to sleep. And he used to say, we're saying prayers now. And we're going to say all the things that we're thankful for. And me as a kid was like, Dad, really? I just want to sleep. Come on, I just want to sleep. Like, do we have to go through this again? And it was always like, pray for the poor people. Thank you for my food. And even though at the time I thought, do you know what? This is really, really just a bit lame. It had such an impact on me and who I am. And it's like any kind of habit, isn't it? Right? We often think habits, I have to do this again. It's the same thing or the same thing. But it does really install something in you. So, and I don't do it anymore. I don't pray and say thank you in that way in the evenings. And whether it's a religious thing or not, I think everyone should have a gratitude journal or set themselves reminders of things that they are grateful for, right?
I've talked about this over and over again, and I talk about it with people that I'm in training or coaching with, especially when we talk about the three things that we have control over: our actions, reactions, and mindset.
Mindsets.
Yeah. And so when it comes to mindset, right, how, it's all about attitude. And if you have an attitude of gratitude, that is going to change your mindset. And you have to practice it every day, because negativity bias, we all can fall into that. And I think when you practice the gratitude attitude, that's how you change your mindset.
And it's so complex, our brains. We become entwined in our own thoughts, especially when it comes to habits. I think we always sort of get to the point, well, I didn't do that today, so that didn't work. Now I'm going to feel negative about it and not do it again. And, we're complex human beings, right? And I think I was thinking to myself today, knowing that it was like Thanksgiving for you guys when this episode is aired. And I was thinking about all the reasons to convince myself to do this, to have this diary or set these reminders, no matter what happens, even if I fail one day, thinking about becoming 1% better. And I was thinking about all the times we get stressed and the times that we get depressed, often from a pattern of negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
In the restaurant, someone's always complaining. Someone's always wanting their money back for something. But how often do you stand in a line and someone says really loudly in front of everyone, I just wanted to say that service was awesome. Thank you. I mean, maybe you do in America, but we don't see much of it here in the UK.
You don't see much of it here too. But when I do see it, I do call it out. I do tell people like, oh my gosh, your service was amazing, or your smile was amazing, or your attitude was amazing. Thank you for that. I just said this to a cashier the other day because, we were talking about how people don't even, this is how it happened. I was at the grocery store. The lady in front of me was complaining about something. I can't even remember what she was complaining about. She was complaining about something being out of stock and blah, 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 blah. And then she left and the cashier is like getting herself situated for processing me. And then she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Hello, I should have greeted you. And we both started laughing. I said, hello, thank you. I'm like, I'm so used to it today that people don't greet. I'm like, I don't know what's happened to service that we just don't greet people. It's like a simple thing to do. It's kind of old school to get back to being positive. And so as I was leaving, I'm like, and thank you for being so friendly, right? And thank you, right? It's like, it's so easy. Saying thank you is free, by the way. It doesn't cost anything when you say thank you or good job. It literally puffs people up and they get excited about it.
Definitely. Definitely. I remember working as a shop assistant when I was young and I was like, Dad, I'm so boring. Talk about my dad again, but he's the most gratitudeful person in the world, if that's a sentence. I was working in a shop and I said, Dad, I'm so bored. No one's coming in. And he said to me, see how many people you can make smile today. And I set myself that task and I had the best day ever because all these people walking in just like, and you're just like, hey, how are you doing today? They're like, oh, I'm fine, thanks. And some people, I don't know, again, in the US, it could be different, but in the UK, there's that feeling of, you don't really care. You don't care. There's that, for example, kids' parties. I talk about this a lot because I've just started going to them. I'm so excited to see all the mums because I'm like, finally, someone who knows what I'm going through. And they all sit there so miserable, heads down. And I'm like, hey, how are you? And I know that kind of linked with being friendly as well. But I think often the reason they're not looking happy is because there's that feeling of, I don't want to appear superficial. I don't want to be judged. There's that negativity bias that people are going to think the worst because in our media today, there's so much criticism of different people, like especially in the UK in our politics, people are bringing people down, and it destroys us. And especially in business, we want to be resilient, right? And in order to be resilient, you have to be thankful for things. Otherwise, the negativity will bring you down.
I think resiliency comes from being able to pick yourself up, and you can pick yourself up when you are grateful for everything. And it's interesting, like the episode I did by myself, I'm sorry, the 200th episode.
It was awesome.
Thank you. Our producer Ian had sent me a really nice note about it. And he's like, he does listen to our shows in their entirety. Thank God. Sometimes there are things that need to be removed. And he said, wow, like the story you shared about 2020 and how brutal it was. And I just did like a snapshot, like I tried to fast track it. But throughout 2020, I And still today, I'm always like, okay, this shitty thing happened. Why? Why did it happen? What's the positive thing that's supposed to come from this? And so I sort of treat it like when shitty things happen, I look at it and go, okay, something cool is supposed to happen because of this. What is it? And I play a game with myself. I literally go, what
Mm.
amazing thing can come from this situation? I think that's where my resilience comes from, is staying in that
Mm-hmm.
mindset. And then what you talked about the journal. I talk about this all the time. I do keep a journal, and
Mm.
it's very simple to do. I actually created a worksheet for this a couple years ago. And I remember because Jeff Bajorek had asked me for a copy of it, and I got to go find it. But it was like how I start my day, which is like 3 things I'm grateful for from yesterday,
Mm.
and 3 things that I did well yesterday. Like it's basically 3 things I pat myself on the back for, of like, oh, I did that really well. And I joke about this with people. I say sometimes it's like I had a good hair day. And that'll like, because it's very hard for us to actually dig in and give ourselves props. Like,
Oh,
hey, I
yes.
I did this well. Like we just don't do it. Just
And
like
it
we
doesn't have to be you, right? It doesn't have to be something that you did well. Like, your hair, awesome. Like, what a great thing. Quite small, but it could be the coffee that you're drinking, right? I'm thankful for this coffee. It tastes so good.
yeah. So there's the gratitude, right? I'm thankful for the
Yeah,
coffee,
yeah,
right? There's
yeah.
that's the gratitude. Props. Props are about finding things that you're grateful for about yourself,
Mm.
about yourself. And sometimes that can feel selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I going to turn the mirror on me and look at what I did well? Because nobody else is going to do it for you. That's why.
They're too consumed to what's going on in their lives. And we can't wait around for that approval from someone else. So do what Gina says. Gina, can our listeners get hold of this template journal if they email you?
Yes, they can. I just have to find it.
So, also, one of the things that's been really lifting me up at the moment, and you'll think this is mental, but for example, second baby that I had was a complete surprise. We say not accident, surprise. And
Surprise.
I was thinking the other day, I do really love my husband, and I was thinking about the chances of him being him. You know how we are when we're in love and all that smoochy stuff. We think you're so special in your own way. But I Googled what the chances are of us being born in the first place. Can you guess what it is?
1 in a billion.
1 in 400 trillion. But that is that you were born with the characteristics that you have. It's from a TED Talk study recently in 2021. And it just got me thinking, how many of us go around beating ourselves up on a day-to-day basis when, hey, I'm alive and I'm going to present myself. We talk about presence and all that. I'm going to try and present myself in the best possible way that I can because I'm here and I've had this opportunity and I've got to turn that around to be thankful for things. And we're talking about it like it's easy and we do it, but I don't know about you, but I have bad days.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, it is, Jeb used this word with me that sticks out in my head all the time, intentional,
Yeah.
right? It's about being intentional with everything that you're doing. And so that's you have to constantly remind yourself to turn it around. I can go negative on a lot of things and then I go, okay,
Mm.
whoa, stop. What's the positive that can come from this? Turn it around, turn it into a positive.
How many girls, guys don't really do this, but when females get together, how much time do you think they spend talking about bad breakups and bad relationships, moaning about their partners, compared to how much time they talk about how much they're so in love? And well, if you're with Gina right now, she'll talk about how much she's in love. But we forget sometimes. I'm in recruitment and most of the time I'm speaking to people about, they hate their jobs and their boss is terrible and all of this. But we turned that around. So I'm really glad. What's that Destiny's Child song? No, it's Christina Aguilera, Back to the Day, Fighter. Thanks for making me stronger, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It had a huge impact on me when I was growing up, because when I would have bad relationships or bad things were happening, I was like, thank you. Thank you for making me a fighter. Because without these bad experiences, without these negative things happening to us, we would not have that resilience. So having the ability to turn it around and changing it and flipping out its head, it's hard. It's hard, but if you can do it.
The quote from Jeb.
Yeah.
Complaining is misery's mating call.
Yeah.
Complaining is misery's mating call.
And I'm sure Jeb has complained. I'm sure we have complained. And I think, we all think, oh, who's the terrorist in an organization, turning them apart. We're all sometimes the terrorists. We all have bad days, and nobody's perfect. We talk about time management sometimes, especially with habits, trying to be positive. People beat themselves up because they're not doing it. And that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes we have bad days.
Yeah, I just had a new thought, right? Because you're right. Most of us have bad days. There are some people that, maybe they're perfect. I have been so fortunate. Yeah. People are tired of hearing me talk about being happy with my husband, but too bad.
Never.
I
the positive.
What I love I love a lot of things about him, but what makes him like such a good match for me is that if I have a moment of going to the dark side, he doesn't allow it. And we do that. We actually do the same for each other. Like, we keep each other in check. I mean, he's pretty positive. I'm pretty positive. But every now and then we go to the dark side and the other one goes, whoa, stop it. Turn it around. Be positive. He will often say to me, you're a motivational speaker. You are not supposed to be negative. Like I constantly hear that. And I don't even, sometimes the second I feel like going negative, I stop because I look at him and he's already given me the look, like, don't go there. And I literally stop in my tracks and turn around. Wouldn't it be cool if you had a gratitude buddy?
Yes.
I just made it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if you had a gratitude buddy? It could even be
someone that you didn't know. It could be someone in a completely different country, that like a pen pal that you get to know, that you can say anything to, who will be your gratitude buddy.
Yeah.
Can I just say something on this though? Because I think it's really important, because I also believe in this. I think there's an element of it that depends on what type of person you are, because some people, they will go to the dark side, as you call it, and they won't be able to get out. Yeah. From my point of view, from my perspective as a human being, sometimes I need to go to the dark side. And when I've gone there, I lift myself back up. My mum used to always say, you wake up, Susanna, the next day in such a good mood. It's like, and I'm like, yeah. It's like when they say some kids just need a punch bag to get out their anger and then they move on. I think there's a lot of it that it depends on the person and what kind of impact the lack of gratitude or negativity has on themselves and others, right?
Yeah, I'm a big believer I used to coach a lot of women entrepreneurs back in the day before I joined Sales Gravy. And there's a lot of emotion with that. And it was pretty exhausting. It's ironic now that I coach a lot of men. Nothing against women. I'm just saying that I was at the time coaching a lot of women going through menopause. And now that I've gone through it, I get it. You just have to get on a positive track. And you need someone who's going to help you get on a positive track if you can't do it.
So what would that look like? Just thinking about listeners who might be thinking, well, that's all very well. Who's going to help me get on a positive track? How can they go about trying to get someone to get them on that positive track?
I would say think about someone in your life that inspires you, that you love being around, that whether it's a friend or a family member, we all have those people in our life. Like, not everybody is miserable, and there are people that you can go to, right? And if you think about Jeb's quote on misery, right, he talks about this in Selling the Crisis too, about staying away from the gossip, staying away from the misery, staying away from proliferating that. And we do go to that as a negativity bias. What if we flip that, and instead of going and talking about something negative, because we want to vent, We want to vent. And this was the other thing I was going to say is like, I would tell these women, I'm like, go ahead and have your pity party. Like, have your pity party for a day. Like you were kind of talking about, go like cry for a day, cry in your pillow, be miserable, eat ice cream, drink wine, whatever. And then pick yourself back up after a day. Right.
Mm.
And do that and get it out of your system. But what if we stopped? I mean, I'm saying this to myself too. What if we stopped calling those people that we lean on? Like, oh my God, I just had a bad day and I just need someone to listen to me and I got to vent and I just got to get it out of my system. What if we went to those people instead and said, I'm having a bad day. I'm here for you to be my gratitude buddy. Turn me around.
Yeah, it's an awesome idea. I think that's a definite takeaway, right? So,
yeah, your gratitude buddy could be like, all right, what was the bad thing? And then the gratitude buddy finds the positive side of it because they can be objective.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember actually.
I mean, you do that to me.
I was actually just thinking of you.
Your gratitude buddy.
Sometimes when you're on the receiving end and someone's having a bad day, sometimes as the listener, you think that they want to, as the listener, you think that they want you to kind of indulge in what their frustration is. And sometimes, and I've learned this by trying something different, like just saying all the amazing things about that person or, all of that. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that had more of a positive impact. We think sometimes as a listener that they want us to delve into that, but no, it's exactly what you said. Can you be my gratitude buddy? Can you be that person? I think like, I'm just thinking about, for example, a recruiter that I was speaking to today, great person. And they were telling me about why they wanted to leave their role. And then I heard another voice. I was like, who is that? And I just manage this person. I just manage this person, but it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, you can't. I was like, you can't have this conversation with me when they're there. And I do think sometimes, like you said, finding a gratitude buddy that is removed from caring too much about you as well. Because I know for a fact that with husbands and wives, or sisters or brothers, if you care about that person and they're really low about something or they're in a bad place, sometimes it affects the other person too.
Yeah.
And you've almost got to have someone who's a bit removed from it, which is why you people in the US are so good at therapy.
I was just going to say, and then there's therapy.
There is. And so many people who've had therapy, they get validation about something from their childhood. So my mum said this, and that's why I'm like this. And my dad said this. And sometimes not everyone, and not you, not anyone I've spoken to recently, but you hear about people saying, well, that's my dad's fault. That's my mum's fault. Instead of, I'm really happy that they taught me this because now I'm figuring it out and it's making me into this person. So how we perceive things, our experiences, it changes our feelings. It's then how we behave and react, which depends on how we move forwards. So we can draw on the experiences, but we have to internalize it in the right way. And I love your idea about the gratitude journal. And I think turning things on its head, even in a really shitty day, that great coffee or that smile that person gave me, because we're sensitive creatures, aren't we? We are.
And before we started recording, I was talking about being an empath. We don't have to go down that path, but the path of the empath, right? And you add to that for some of us who feel things very emotionally, not just of ourselves, but of others. We can really internalize people's shit, and we can internalize shit that's not even spoken because we can actually feel it. And you combine that being an empath with being highly intuitive, and then you're taking on the world's problems and wanting to help everybody and bringing everybody together and what that creates for you. So that can create its own misery. But I like this concept, this idea of the we talk about in coaching, have an accountability buddy. But why not have a gratitude buddy?
Yeah, we should all have balloons saying, I'm 1 in 400 trillion and I'm grateful. But this gratitude buddy thing, why you were saying that, I was very much listening, but I actually looked up what gratitude means.
Okay.
Now, in the US, I don't know what dictionary you have over there, but we have the Oxford English Dictionary. And it says, gratitude is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness, which I thought was interesting. So it's showing appreciation for and then returning that kindness at the same time. And it's just a really nice definition. I thought one that I might even frame somewhere and put up just to remind myself, because it's a nice feeling, isn't it? Just even talking about this. I don't know about you, but it feels nice.
Well, you were focusing on the positive, right? The positive always makes us feel better. And for some reason, we feel like getting the negative. This literally just came to me in this episode. Like, if we had someone to literally kind of slap us, not literally, but kind of a slap and be like, okay, you had a bad day. What happened? That happened. All right. If we were to look at the positive, it's sort of like coaching, right? Okay. Look, like, what's the positive side of this situation?
Coaching, but on an equal level, right? So
Right.
it's not, and this is why I think we should use this when we're speaking to managers, when anyone who's listening is speaking to, but it doesn't have to be just professionally, right? It can be personally as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big time. And you said, you hit it on the head too, about sometimes you have to go somewhere else, right? You personally, like when there have been things that have come up, and my husband is highly sensitive of a human being as well, is kind of a tough guy that he is. He feels, I think there's a little bit of empath to him. If I'm having a rough day, it really causes him internal like pain and anxiety. He hates to see me upset. It breaks him because he feels like he needs to fix it and he can't fix it. And so we now have it, especially if something has gone wrong and he's at work. Like, we had to have a conversation. Like, I can no longer call him at work when like shit hits the fan for me. Like, I have to hold it or find someone else to talk to. Like that. Like, he kind of said it like that. Like, could you just not call me at work about things?
Fair enough.
Fair, right?
Fair enough.
Like, so that's communication and boundaries as well. That it's like, I can't do anything for you in this situation because I'm at work and I know you want someone to listen to, but then I feel helpless. I can't help you.
Yeah. Well, it's what we call emotional dumping, right? We can all occasionally be an emotional dumping person. And it does have an effect. There's a story I really want to share about a person that I'm thinking of. It's a really, really sad story. And she wouldn't mind me sharing it because she's created a charity around it. She lost her 1-year-old son. It was some kind of virus or infection. And he was just playing one day and he fell to his death.
Oh.
And they went to hospital and it was very sad. A week later, her husband, he actually killed himself because he thought it was his fault. He had all these internal feelings that were happening. So this poor lady, Rianne Burke, absolute legend. She probably spent about 6 months just at home doing nothing. Most people, it would affect their lives in a really, really bad way. What did she do? She created a charity called To Wish Upon a Star. And it's like such a famous charity here in the UK. And she now provides services to people who've lost kids or loved ones, so that they can deal with it before feeling like it's their fault and having the guilt and everything like that. Now, she is probably, to me, one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met, because she has turned a situation that would destroy most people. We talk about bad days, but you don't have bad. That is the worst kind of day you could have. But she's turned it into someone that's made such a positive impact for the world that makes her feel thankful for these two people who had the most tragic thing happening. So it makes her feel that it happened for a reason. Those sorts of people, for me, the champions of turning things into reasons that actually that mattered because it's helped all these people. Does that make sense? It's so powerful.
It makes sense. And that gives me another idea or suggestion for our listeners. Like, how do we get better at this attitude of gratitude? Go on YouTube and like search for anything motivational. There are a lot of stories out there of people who have had horrible things happen to them and how they bounce back, and then they tell their story. And this is why I think it's so important to tell your story. Today officially, we're recording this on November 1st for Thanksgiving, and today is my official first day of writing my book day.
You get that book written. You have to get that book written now.
Well, I set intentions. So telling your story is going to motivate others. But if you're finding yourself like low and down and you can't even find an ounce of gratitude because everything sucks, then go listen to someone else's story that their life was worse than yours. Because I guarantee you, someone's got a worse life.
And use your bad experience to help someone else.
Yeah, that also helps you, right? That helps you when you can actually give, because it's a giver's game. When you can help somebody else, you start to feel grateful because you're appreciated for sharing that and helping somebody else.
Amen, sister.
And so use the gratitude log. And I write down 3 things every day that I'm grateful for from the day before. Even if it's like coffee, like my French press. I love my French press. And then 3 things that I did well yesterday, and then three goals. And sometimes my goals repeat themselves every day because they're the same goals that I'm trying to hit, like they're larger goals. The other thing I incorporated into my gratitude, and this is for anybody, I'm not getting all preachy here and religious here.
Getting all fluffy.
But I will say anybody who practices any level of religion, let's just say, I heard this a few months ago in church, in a sermon about, thanking God every day, thanking him, right? Like we forget to thank. We ask for a lot and then we forget to thank. And I thought that would be an interesting way to incorporate that concept into my 3 gratitudes every day. So I used to write down, I'm grateful for. And then I would write down number 1, number 2, number 3. And now I write down, thank you, God, for number 1, number 2, number 3. It was just a way for me to incorporate that reminder for anybody who, follows believes in a higher power and, gets away from it. So that would be my other pro
and
tip.
my only one, you've added lots of good ones there, but my only one would be sometimes to surprise yourself. Like maybe 2 weeks in advance, set yourself daily reminders that just pop up when you're least expecting it. Like I leave little notes, nothing dirty, but I leave little notes for my husband telling him how amazing he is sometimes on his phone. And he'll be like, what are you doing on my phone? And I'll be like, you'll see. And that, that you could say he's my gratitude buddy. There we are.
I like that. I love the leaving notes thing for people, like just to pump them up. Like when I make David his lunch for work and I put a note.
You love doing his lunch.
I do love doing his lunch.
On your face.
I know. And he loves it. Like he's not telling me stay in bed because I think he loves it because it feels good that someone cares enough to get up and do that. And actually then I get up for work. Right. But I leave notes in his lunch telling him to have a great day or thanking him for something. If I go on a trip, I always leave a note on the bed so that when he comes home from work, he has that note to see it. And sometimes I'll tell Alexa to tell him things. I'll be like, Alexa.
That's so good. Oh my gosh, I didn't know Alexa could do that.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, now she's like, oh, she just heard me. So sometimes I'll tell Alexa, I'll be like, Alexa, remind David to tell me he loves me.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Oh, she just heard me. Now she's...
Oh, Alexa can do all these wonderful things for you. So yeah. We can do so much now with technology, right? Voice notes.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Siri, remind me to do this. Remind me to do that. There's all these things. So
wait, hold on.
I love that.
Alexa, stop. Okay. She keeps asking me what I want. Okay. Anyway, so as we wrap up this show, let's share some of our own gratitudes. For me, it's Thanksgiving Day that this show is coming out, and I am super grateful for you, Susanna Gray Jones, and him being my co-host and friend. I truly love you. And I love our friendship and our partnership. So I think you've added something special to the show. So I'm super grateful for you.
Oh,
Number two, you're welcome. I am super grateful for my family, for my husband and the family that has adopted me, my husband's family, the Clotters. I'm super grateful for that. And I'm super grateful for the opportunities that I have at Sales Gravy to help people and train them and coach them and to grow and create things. So those are 3 gratitudes that I want to share today on American Thanksgiving.
So nice. That was so lovely. You pausing because you want me to come up with 5.
3, and so now you have to share your 3 gratitudes.
Oh, well, okay, cool. Putting me on the spot. Hey, I like to put others on the spot. Okay, so first of all, well, we'll have to do it back now, right? So thank you to Gina. I would have done it anyway. For introducing me to podcasts and for making me feel unique in the English way, but also for your wisdom. You're very wise, and you come up with some absolute smashes sometimes that I'm completely like, wow. There's obviously the family and all those who support, especially my parents, who I've learned so much from, and I talk about a lot. I've got nothing bad to say about them. They're the most awesome people in the world, as is my husband and my kids. But the third one is, and this is linked to Sales Gravy as well. It's linked to books. It's linked to Anthony and Marino and all of the podcast guests that we have had. And one of the reasons I love doing the podcast is because the learning, the ability to soak up knowledge from others is the one thing that wakes me up every day and helps me in any time. We've got so much access to knowledge these days, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, I always talk about this show being its own MBA program, how much we learn from our guests and from each other. And one final gratitude I'm sure that Susanna shares with me is that we are super grateful for you, our listeners who listen to this show on a regular basis and share it. So thank you for that. And of course, our amazing producer, Nian, who makes us sound good.
I always feel like our listeners are hanging out with us, even though it's just us in the moment. I do. Yeah. I feel like you're hanging out with us.
Yeah. So that's it for this episode, this special Thanksgiving attitude of gratitude episode of The Women Your Mother Warned You About, brought to you by Sales Gravy. Hey, up-level yourself at salesgravy.university. We have all kinds of courses that will take you to a place of being grateful. Grateful for what you learn and grateful for what you earn.
Beautiful.
I think we're out of here. You know where to find us, listeners. So we're out. I got some turkey to eat.
And I've got some sleep to be had.
Bye, everybody.
Ciao.